You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast. www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday, or whenever you're getting around to listening to this week's Savage Lovecast. We're going to do something a little different with the top of the show. We're going to bring in my friend Tracy Cataldo, who is the associate producer of the Hump Film Festival, to have a little talk about Hump, my amateur porn film festival, and how you can enter it and be a part of it. We're doing this in part because Nancy Hartunian, producer of the podcast, is on vacation this week, so we weren't able to record a timely intro to this week's show. So for this week's intro, top of this week's show, me and Tracy in conversation about Hump. I'd like you to meet Tracy. She is one of the few women in the world who can say that she's had sex in my bed.
Oh my God.
Welcome to the show.
You weren't going to say that. Hi, everyone.
Would you like to tell people about that time you had sex in my bed?
Nope.
Okay, well, we'll leave that to your imaginations then. Tracy Cataldo is the associate producer, executive producer?
Associate producer.
Associate producer of Hump, which you've heard me describe a million times as my amateur porn short film festival. And it sounds, when I talk about it, like I run it all on my own, but it's actually Tracy who is the muscle. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
We've done the call for submissions. That's why I wanted to have you on, rather than just me go on about Hump. Briefly, when you first got involved with Hump, what did you think?
Well, I was a little scared and nervous before I actually entered the event, because I think when you hear porn, you never know what it's going to be like. As now an event producer, it was everything I wanted it to be, like massive crowds, big rush, crazy.
The films themselves.
And then as an audience member going into it was nothing I've ever seen before.
And now you've been on the Hump jury for years. You help pick the films. It's not just me. There's a whole group of people. We put Hump together. We watch your submissions. We pick the 24, 25 best, and we create the show. And now Hump tours the country because of Tracy, my mean lesbian boss. She makes sure that Hump gets to you wherever you are. And we're here today to talk about how you can get to Hump or get in Hump. We've done the call for submissions, so everyone's invited to make a film for Hump. As associate producer and co-executive, co-president of the Hump jury, what makes a good Hump film? What should people be thinking about if they want to contribute a film to Hump?
Definitely has to be 5 minutes or less. It can be anything. We like to say it can be anything except minors, except poop, and except animals.
So if you're thinking about a film where a child shits on a cat, it's not going to get in Hump.
Right. You know, I think it's really intimidating at first where people want to make a film. You know, they think about wanting to make a film, or they go to the event and they're like, oh, I could totally do that. And then it's really intimidating because some of the quality of these films are amazing. And some of the best films and some of the winning films were shot on iPhones. And some of the stories that we follow up with the filmmakers afterwards, we just sat around and had a few drinks and said, like, wouldn't it be funny if we did that? And then they just made it happen. And I think those are the best stories. It doesn't have to be overproduced. It doesn't have to be, top-notch equipment.
Yeah, really, Hump runs the gamut. The films that you'll see, and if you've been to Hump, you'll see everything from animation to erotica to really rough stuff that looked like it was produced on the fly or made really simply, to stuff where obviously they hired a professional camera crew and professional editors, but you don't have to be a pro to get in, and you don't have to have high production values to get in. The thing has to have heart. The best films are ones made by friends and lovers who are having fun. That's what makes the porn at Hump different than the porn you see just about anywhere else, because everyone in it wants to be there, and it's so clear they want to be there, and they're sharing something very personal.
I like to say when we're on the road, I make a joke. At the end of each show, I thank the audience for coming. And the best thing that we're, now that we are taking it on the road, the best thing is that we're getting submissions from all over the country and Canada, not in the world for that matter, not just from Seattle and Portland. And so my joke is, we are now taking films from everywhere, from you guys, not just from Seattle and Portland anymore. And I say not just from skinny little white hipsters, because for a while it was just the Pacific Northwest hipster event to go to.
A lot of beards.
And now it's just,
women.
It's everyone from everywhere. Like, I want films from Dallas and Atlanta and California and Chicago and New York. I mean, now it's like everyone and everything, and it's so great to see those films come in, to see everyone, all the different styles, and and genders and sexual orientations and body types, everything.
And that's my favorite thing about actually watching the festival. 'Cause you and I, when we go to the festival, we watch the audience, because Hump is a festival where you can be a porn star for a weekend in a movie theater, not a porn star for eternity on the internet. So we don't release anything online, and we keep an eye on the audiences to make sure that nobody's attempting to make a bootleg. And we watch the people watching the show. And there's this amazing thing that happens. We've got this big audience of like lots of straight people, lots of gay people, some trans people, lots of kinky people, and you've got gay guys watching cunnilingus, and you've got straight guys watching a dude get fucked in the ass, and you've got cisgender people watching trans porn made by trans people about themselves and really for themselves, and you've got vanilla people watching kinky porn. And there's this thing that happens in the first few films that they roll out where people are kind of thrown back in their seats, kind of have the wind knocked out of them. But about a third of the way through the festival, everyone starts cheering and clapping for every film. Nobody is having that like whoa reaction anymore about halfway through. And I think what happens is initially, when the films first begin to roll out, and these are all porn shorts, so nothing's more than 5 minutes long, all anybody can see is what's different. That's not my plumbing. Those aren't the kinds of people I'm attracted to. Those aren't the kinds of things I want to do in bed. That's not the kind of gender expression I'm familiar with. And all they can see is what's not them. What's not theirs, what's different. And about halfway through, everyone starts clicking into what's exactly the same. Because under that thin veneer of plumbing and gender and desire and sexual orientation, there's this really heavy slab of everything that's lust, vulnerability, a sense of humor, desire, friendship, love, all that's the same. And you just see this moment where the audience flips from, oh my God, what's that? Not me, not mine, to that's me too. Even though nothing up there looks anything like me, that's me too.
I've been to shows where, I've literally watched the audience, people, couples, friends sitting next to each other, where one person is like covering their eyes because they have never seen that before, and the person right next to them that they came with is laughing hysterically. And I've watched that same couple flip, and I've watched the person that was, laughing hysterically cover their eyes while the other person is, applauding and cheering. And I think that's the best part, is watching the dynamic of the audience change up and down. And it is true. I mean, also my favorite part of traveling to all these cities is standing out in the lobby after every show as everyone leaves, and everyone loves it. It's so cool to see everyone come out with such a positive.
We're talking people into coming to the festival. I wanted to have you on to talk people into submitting to the festival.
Okay.
To making a film for Hump. There's a couple things that are different about making a film for Hump. There are other festivals that are similar. There's lots of other film festivals in the world. Unlike just about every other one, you don't have to pay to enter Hump. There's no charge to enter. And not only that, there's what is it, $20,000?
Last year we've always did $10,000 in prizes. This year we're doing 15.
And so there's a $5,000 Best in Show award. There are $2,000 runner-up prizes for Best Kink, Best Sex, Best Humor, and other awards, the jury awards. We give a lot of money back to the filmmakers. And then when Hump goes on tour, and that's just at the festival in Seattle and Portland, where the audience ballots are determined which are the best films and the winning films. And then it goes on tour, and everyone who made a film and contributed a film to Hump and goes out on tour with Hump, they get a percentage of every ticket sold.
Right.
So the filmmakers make money. They make money. We give back to the filmmakers a lot of the money that's made by the tour.
Right.
So there's something in it for you. Not only don't you have to pay to enter, but at the festival you could win a large prize. And if you go out on tour, you're definitely going to get a check at the end of the tour that honors your contribution.
Mm-hmm. A check quarterly. We'll pay you throughout the tour.
So in a way, once you're in Hump, you're kind of a professional pornographer because you're getting paid for it.
I mean, it's true. The people that do get into the festival are so appreciative, and so they write back saying like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to tell my friends I'm a porn star." Some people don't say anything. Some people want to pretend like it's still their little secret, and that's cool.
And it can be your little secret. There are lots of films where you don't see anyone's faces.
Right.
Lube Dispenser, one of my favorite films in this year's festival. Mm-hmm. You didn't see anybody's face.
Right.
And it was still super hot.
There's also a older couple who they even said at the beginning of the film they really wanted to be a part of Hump. And I don't know if they made, I think they made the cut on, I think it was like 2014, but they wore full bodysuits, and just they made it happen with full bodysuits. Some of the best films that we get, also I want to say that if having sex on film, like having actual penetration and intercourse on film scares you, I will say that a lot of films we get that we love don't actually have actual sex in it.
There's sometimes humor shorts. The Collector was one of the favorites this year on the tour, and it was just kind of a Dateline 2020 interview with a
Right.
guy who collects semen where nobody got undressed. And it was just like a little humorous short riffing on
Right.
something sexy, something dirty.
It
and it totally had a place in Hump.
It reminded me of Christopher Guest films, The Collector did.
Absolutely.
Where it was just, no sex at all, but fucking laughing the whole time. Can I curse on here? Is that
Yes,
okay?
you can curse on here.
I mean, it's all about sex. I can curse.
It is a podcast. You could actually get undressed right now and no one will know.
No.
Except me. I would be terribly traumatized by it.
But yeah, so I just, some of the films are hilarious and have no sex at all. Some have sex and kink and humor. Some have just kink. There are a million ways to go about it, to submit a film. And you can write to it. There's a whole website dedicated to submitting a film at humpfilmfest.com.
And you click on submit and you'll find all the information you need about submitting a film
You can
to
ask
Hump.
us questions about
It's
it.
free to submit a film to Hump. If you get into the festival, you have about a 1 in 3 or 4 chance of winning
Mm-hmm.
a large cash prize based on the audience ballot. And if you go out on tour, you're going to get 3 or 4 checks over the course of the year, giving you your cut of every ticket sold on the Hump tour. So please think about making a film for Hump. Hump is a blast everywhere it goes. People love it, and we've never had anything but good experiences with people who submitted films for it.
I do want to say one last thing is that the other thing, the intimidation that comes along with submitting a film to a festival like this, you keep in mind it's fun, but also we're looking for everything. We're not just looking for the sexiest or the kinkiest or the funniest film or the best in show. We like to create a 90-minute runtime of films that has something in it.
95-minute runtime.
That
I like to
90
push it.
minutes when you're running the event on a 2 hours, the 2-hour window. We like something for everyone. So if you think, your film's not good enough or you think
Or
it's
you
too
think
short or
your kink or what turns you on is too unique or personal to you, those are always the films that the audience loves.
yeah.
People don't ape the conventions of commercial porn. Don't do a film that's what you think people want to see. Do a film that is what you want to present and who you are. And those are the films that the audiences vote up. Those are the films that the audience heaps prizes on. And those are the films that everybody loves and remembers.
Yeah. Send it in. We'll all fight about it and watch it 100 times in the jury room.
The other thing we should say for people thinking about submitting, we destroy all of our copies of the films after the festival and the tour are over. We destroy all paperwork after the festival is over. So you have to have releases. We have to have IDs during the festival and during the tour. But once it's all over, all of that gets destroyed. And your film only gets released out into the wild if you choose to release it. If you choose to put it, as some people have, there's some Hump films on Xtube, some that are not graphic on YouTube. We didn't release those. The filmmakers did. But you can take part in Hump safe in the knowledge that your privacy is going to be respected, and you can be a porn star for the weekend in this movie theater without having to be a porn star for eternity.
And there's no cell phones in the theater. I patrol the aisles myself.
Mean lesbian boss.
Yeah, it's fun. I think as a person running that event and watching all of these films, like 100 or 150 films through a whole weekend, I have this thing now where if I see somebody that I think I know, most people don't want to be rude and they want to say hi. I can't do that anymore because the person that I think I might know and I say like, hey, I think I know you from somewhere. I can't do that because that UPS guy, I think I might have actually seen
UPS
him
guy.
in a film. So I just don't say hi to anyone anymore because I need to keep that privacy private.
Well, for years we called it the Pacific Northwest's biggest, best, and only amateur porn film festival. We're no longer calling it the Pacific Northwest. It's now the world's, and we are accepting submissions from all over the place. So Chicago, San Francisco, New York, Toronto, Vancouver, Dallas. We want to see you in Hump. Go to humpfilmfest.com. Click on submit for how to submit your film, and go there also to be reminded of what's in it for you if you get your film into Hump. Tracy, thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for having me.
Again, you can find all the information you need to submit a film to Hump at humpfilmfest.com. Click on submit, and the deadline for submissions is the 30th of September. Coming up in today's Magnum version of the show, Emily Galati, the hilarious comedian we had at our live show in Madison, Wisconsin, and of course, your calls. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron delivers all fresh, high-quality ingredients and recipes you need to create delicious home-cooked meals. Get your first 3 meals for free by going to blueapron.com/savage.
This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the easiest way to create a beautiful website, blog, or online store for you and your ideas. Squarespace features an elegant interface, beautiful templates, and incredible 24/7 customer support. Try Squarespace at squarespace.com and enter offer code SAVAGE at checkout to get 10% off. That's squarespace.com, offer code SAVAGE.
This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Club W, the wine club that sends wine to your door. Get $20 off your first order of 4 bottles or more by going to clubw.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 40-year-old lady living in the Northeast. I have a is this okay to cheat question. I'm married with 2 kids, and I've been having a side relationship with a female friend of mine who's also married with 2 kids. And it has been with the full consent of our husbands. Probably a month or so, almost 2 ago, her husband put the nix on it, said no more. He wasn't comfortable with it. He realized he wasn't going to be able to be involved and just said, no, that's it. So I'm having a difficult time being around her without wanting to be intimate and sexual with her. So I don't know what the best course to take would be to cheat, which we don't really want to do. We've tried all the tactics to convince her husband, it's not working. Do I just stay away from her? I really don't know what to do, and I was hoping you could shed some light.
I had a question because it wasn't clear from your call. How long were you and this woman having this permitted affair, this consensual connection?
About 6 months.
Okay, did something change? What was the reason the husband gave for telling his wife that he didn't want her to be having sex with you anymore?
He was scared that we were getting too close and that she would leave him.
Uh-huh. Were you getting closer, noticeably closer? Was it becoming more intimate and spun up?
I don't think so. I think it was pretty intimate the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what part of it was is that initially he had some expectation that he was going to be involved.
Uh-huh.
He wanted me to be a third, and I wasn't comfortable with that. My husband wasn't comfortable with that.
So he had a what's in it for me crisis. That initially he thought, if I allow this to happen eventually I get to have a 3-way. And then that never materialized.
Right.
Okay, everyone's gonna have this negative reaction to the husband, and he's a jerko and whatever. But I don't think a what's in it for me is entirely an illegitimate kind of commodified bargain between people who had previously been in a monogamous relationship. I will give you my okay to do this if there's something in it for me. If we get to do X, you can do Y. And the X for him was the 3-way, which is not going to happen because you don't want to have a 3-way. So the only counter I think that your former girlfriend can make to her husband is some other X, that she still gets the Y, which is you, but is there some other X she can offer him in exchange for him consenting to this again? Is there a 3-way that she can arrange with somebody else, with a sex worker, with a whatever, or some other thing he's always wanted to do, or maybe a permission slip for him to run off on his own and do whatever?
Okay.
And that could be the way to make this happen. Another way to perhaps reobtain his consent is to honor the withdrawal of it for now, which means don't have an affair with this woman. Don't go behind the husband's back and fuck her. If he sees that his wife is going to put his feelings first and turn off the spigot, if he says the spigot's got to be turned off, that can give him the confidence and the security to perhaps give her permission to turn that spigot on again down the road.
Right.
And that's a horrible, but there's no guarantee of that, which makes, putting all your hope in that perhaps frustrating. And, since there's no guarantee, and that putting all your hopes in that can create anxiety for you, because why should I wait if there's no guarantee that if I'm good and we don't, that we might get to eventually? But if you want to ever again eventually without blowing up her marriage, honoring the withdrawal of his consent is one strategy, and finding out what other X she can offer him in exchange for this Y is the other. And those are really the only ones I can think of.
We have been honoring his wishes to not go behind his back.
Okay. Well, I think that's only right and proper.
Yeah.
If she can't live without pussy, if this is something that she needs in her life to be content, and to, be sexually fulfilled and fully realized as a sexual person, an intimate person, then that's a separate conversation she needs to have with her husband without it involving you.
Right.
Like if she needs openness to stay, if she needs his buy off and his consent and his permission for the relationship to go forward, let them have that conversation without you like waiting outside the door with no panties on.
That makes sense.
Good luck. I'm sorry you're in this position. A lot of people, when they first open their relationships, this is a really common occurrence where, two people in a long-term committed monogamous relationship, straight or gay or lesbian or whatever, they open it and one person gets cold feet and wants to close it again. I know a lot of people today in successfully open marriages that are pretty easy peasy, pretty breezy, and pretty content, where there was this period where they slammed the door shut because one person had a kind of a panic attack and a meltdown. And all of those people I know in those relationships that were open for a bit, then closed, then reopened, the only ones that are successful, the only ones that reopened successfully and peacefully are the ones where the one partner who had the panic attack said, no, closed for now. The other towed the line and said, okay, you come first, closed for now.
Right.
And then the other person felt secure enough in being the first priority, secure enough to know that if they did withdraw their consent, that would be respected, to bestow their consent again on their partner.
Okay. So we'll just try to have some patience.
Have some patience. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Dan.
As I've mentioned on the show before, Terry and I have been using Blue Apron ourselves to have meal ingredients shipped to our house. We've been doing it for a while now. What I haven't talked about is how much care they take as a company to offer high-quality, ethical ingredients. Their seafood is sustainably sourced. Their beef is raised humanely. The chickens are free-range. You get the idea. And for less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients so you can make delicious home-cooked meals yourself in your home easily. Blue Apron knows that when you cook with incredible ingredients, you make incredible meals, so they set the highest quality standards for their community of artisanal suppliers, family-run farms, fisheries, and ranchers. Whether it's Japanese ramen noodles, wild-caught Alaskan salmon, or heirloom tomatoes, Blue Apron is bringing you the best. And this week, they are offering dishes like sweet chili chicken or eggplant tagine. And recipes are between 500 to 700 calories per portion, so it's all delicious and good for you and good for the planet. Right now, you can get your first 3 meals for free at blueapron.com/savage. That's blueapron.com/savage. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Hey, Dan, I have a good question. I'm calling from the Southwest by Guy here. And a guy I used to mess around with, he's in the closet, very religious. And I just came across a video of him on the internet messing around with another guy. And I know this can have, like, a negative effect if a member of his family was to see the video or something. So I don't know what my responsibility is. Should I get the video taken down? Should I contact him and let him know that there's video circulating? I don't know. I need some help.
I have a funny story. I was approached by a friend because my friend saw someone that he knew on XTube. And there was this dirty video, and his friend was clearly identifiable, and he knew his friend to be this kind of uptight, prim and proper person who would be mortified and appalled to know that this video was out there in the world. And so we gamed out how to approach his friend, how to like sit him down and talk to him in a calm and measured way so his friend didn't freak out and cry or drop dead of a heart attack. And he went to his friend and very carefully and with a great deal of compassion and caution presented this to him. And his friend laughed because this was his kink, because he was an exhibitionist. He knew the video was out there. He put it up himself. And it was so in contrast to the person that my friend knew his friend to be that it shocked my friend. But of course, that makes total sense. A lot of us, our erotic inner lives are in contrast to our presentation the rest of the time. Think of the high-powered executive who pays some nice dominatrix to call him names and beat the shit out of him, right? Who wants to give up all of the power that he's worked so hard to accrue over the course of his life in these controlled settings. And this guy, this prim and proper guy, who's worked so hard to create this persona for himself, which seems to not be at all interested in sex, on the flip side, totally interested. And an exhibitionist and but compartmentalizes that and has no problem with that video being out there. Maybe that's the case here. Hopefully that's the case here, because you're not going to fucking say anything and you're going to keep your mouth shut and you're not going to be the white knight. You can't get that video taken offline. As we've discussed before, once a video is out there, once images are out there on the interwebs, they're out there. So going to your friend or your ex and telling him about it serves no purpose. If he knows it's out there and doesn't care or put it out there himself, then you've just had an awkward conversation rooted in faulty assumptions about the person you thought him to be. But if he doesn't know it's out there, knowing it's out there is going to be a torment to him forever. And that torment, that potentially lifelong torment, even eternal torment perhaps, serves what purpose? Serves no purpose. If nothing bad ever comes of this, who knows? Maybe no one else will ever see the video, or it'll get buried by all the other porn that's coming along online. No other friend or acquaintance will ever spot him in that video. And he will spend the rest of his life, if you bring him this news, worrying about what may never come to pass. His mother seeing it, his boss seeing it, his new boyfriend or girlfriend seeing it, whatever. Why do that to him? Why burden him with that torment for something that may never come to pass? Shut your fucking mouth. Stay the fuck out of it. I don't know where you guys are listening from today, but here in Seattle, where we are recording from today, it is hot as fuck. And the very best possible thing to do after work on a hot day is to crash on your front porch with a glass of cold white wine. With Club W, you can figure out the kinds of wine you like and stock up like the summer will never end. With Club W, you'll never have to worry about being wine-free again. Club W is a revolutionary new wine club that sends you wine directly to your door, saving you all those trips to the grocery store. Not only does Club W send you wine, they send you wine that you'll love drinking. Club W's easy 6-question quiz figures out your palate, so every bottle you receive is perfectly tailored to your tastes. Club W works directly with vineyards to cut out the middlemen, and that saves you money. Club W even offers a no-risk guarantee that you'll love what they send you. Right now, Club W is offering our listeners $20 off your first order when you go to clubw.com/savage, and it gets even better. Club W will actually pay for your shipping on orders of 4 bottles or more. So take something off your to-do list. Just go to clubw.com/savage to get $20 off your first order right now. That's clubw.com/savage.
Hi, Dan and tech-savvy at-risk youth. I am a 38-year-old gay man living in San Francisco, and I'm calling about the issue of gay dudes and our dating pool being kind of limited, especially in gay meccas, and how to handle etiquette when I'm flirting with and sexting with a guy who my recent ex has definitely had an ongoing hookup with. And I want to know, like, do I owe disclosure? Like, I realized this after, about an hour of talking on one of the hookup apps, but like, oh, this is that dude who my very recent ex has been hooking up with for the past 3 months. He was hooking up with him while we were together. Do I need to say something to anybody? Like, I think I know well enough to not call my ex and say, hey, I think I'm going to have sex with this dude you're hooking up with, because that sounds awkward and uncomfortable. But, like, should I tell the dude? Like, oh, yeah, by the way, you know my ex. He's coming to you a bunch of times. Ha, ha, ha. Let's go. So just really an etiquette question. What's the polite course of action? Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling me.
You're welcome. Did you fuck this guy yet?
No, not yet.
Are you still thinking about it?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've mostly just been talking online and over text. He's super hot and beautiful, and I'm totally into it. But I'm also like, I don't want to be disingenuous and like keep this potentially relevant piece of information from him.
Just to be clear about the history here. So you were with somebody else. You were in a relationship that's now over. And while you were in that relationship, your ex was hooking up with this guy. Was it
right?
Was it an open relationship, or was your ex cheating with this guy? Okay, so totally open relationship.
No, totally.
What's the problem then?
Well, I just want to make sure that nobody feels like anybody's territory is getting pissed on.
It just seems like what you would chalk up to small world, particularly San Francisco, particularly gay. Small world. People hook up with people's ex hookups and exes, and what can you do? If you're worried that he may react badly, you can get out in front of it and disclose in advance, particularly if you're interested in a relationship with this guy potentially. you don't want this to come out 6 months later and for him to wonder why you withheld it or if you were being manipulative or there was some sort of...
Yeah, but I'm not really thinking in those lines. I'm thinking more like we should eat each other's butts for several hours.
That I don't see necessarily, the need to disclose, but I don't see why you wouldn't disclose. Because small world.
Small world. Okay, cool. That was sort of how I was leaning, and then I was thinking heteronormative modeling says you never have sex with somebody who has ever had sex with anyone you've ever had sex with.
Oh my God, but we've talked about that on this show a lot, that's like straight bullshit that gay people don't have the luxury for because we're such a tiny percentage of the population. We can't say to our friends, you can't sleep with anyone I've ever dated, considering how few of us there are and how many of us have dated a great many people, that if we started making those rules, we would either never get laid or have no friends so that we could get laid sometimes.
Okay. I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
File this under not a problem and send me a picture of this guy because I want to see him now that you've described him as so hot.
Okay, give me an email address and I will.
It's mail@savagelove.net.
So easy. I'll send it.
Thanks.
This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Squarespace, the simplest way for anyone to create a beautiful landing page, website, or online store. With easy-to-use tools and templates, Squarespace helps you personalize your site and make it your own. Their sites look professionally designed regardless of skill level, no coding required. The templates make it easy to use, and their customer support is friendly and accessible. Get a free domain if you sign up for a year. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the offer code SAVAGE to get 10% off your first purchase. That's Squarespace, offer code SAVAGE.
Hi, Dan. I have a question for you about jealousy. When you talk about monogamy on your show, I always really agree with what you say in terms of it not being realistic for a lot of people in long-term relationships. You know, that if somebody makes out or hooks up with somebody once in a while, that it's not a big deal. So I really agree with this theoretically and intellectually. And I guess my problem is that emotionally, I have a really hard time getting there, kind of feeling that in my, being or whatever you want to say. I've been with my boyfriend for almost 2 years now, and we're living together and talking long term, and things are great. And, I really like the idea of him being able to hook up with people once in a while, me being able to hook up with people once in a while. But I just can't get there emotionally. And, I feel like this process maybe takes a while, and we've kind of tried to dip our toe in, like, for example, a little while ago we went to a sex club and it was really fun and we both really liked it. There's one point where there's another couple beside us, and, I started kissing the woman, and my boyfriend was touching her, and, there's, again, like the intellectual side of my brain that was like, this is great, and, I want to do this, and feels right to me, or I guess thinks right to me. But there was another part of me that was like, get your fucking hands off of her breasts. And I really am struggling with how to work through that part of me, because it just kind of crops up, and it kind of plays with my mind and makes me feel really threatened and jealous, which is kind of embarrassing, because otherwise I'm a pretty confident person and pretty self-reflective. My boyfriend is really respectful and patient, and, we talk about kind of going at a pace and doing what feels right. And if it doesn't feel right, then we won't do it. But anyway, I want to get to a place where that does feel right. And I'm just wondering if you have any tips to help me get there.
So I'm curious what happened when you were at the sex club and your boyfriend was touching that other woman's breasts, and you said you wanted to scream, get your hands off her breasts, but you don't say what you actually did or didn't do at that moment.
I don't think I realized that I wanted to scream that at the time. More just that I was uncomfortable, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. Mm-hmm. Maybe on some level I knew that I wanted to scream that, but it wasn't like an overwhelming urge. Like, I knew that that's really what I wanted to scream. But what actually happened was not really anything. I think it was just, we kind of played around for a bit and then went on our merry way. They went on their merry way and we went on ours.
Was he feeling it, your boyfriend?
I think kind of. Like, I don't think he was like, oh, that was so hot, I was so into it. But I think he's very intuitive about where I'm at. So I think he sensed that I was uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's probably not going to tell you that that was so hot, I was so into it, if he knows that you're feeling really kind of conflicted about all of this.
Yeah. Oh, because like one time I grabbed his hand. So I probably was thinking that in my head, because at one point I did grab his hand. So he was like, I could tell you were uncomfortable.
Did you leave bruises?
No.
Okay, so you're not as bad as Trump's campaign manager.
No, it was a gentle, maybe grab is a strong word, maybe a gentle push away.
Why are you in a sex club or at a sex party? Why are you working so hard to get to this place if you're clearly not wanting to be in this place? If this doesn't work for you, it's not required. You don't have to be monogamish or non-monogamous to be hep and cool. It's fine to be monogamous if that's really where you're comfortable, if that's what works for you.
I guess a couple of reasons. First, that the idea of like one partner till death do us part, or till the relationship does us part, doesn't sound like what I want.
Okay, well, but you're not dying a week from Tuesday. There's no rush. You can hold this thought in your head that, you can look at each other and say, clearly, you're not the last person I'm ever going to sleep with, but I would like to be with you for the rest of my life. But for right now, this works for me entirely, just sleeping with you. But, asterisk, footnote, we can revisit this issue down the road. But right now, let's be here. This is where I need to be. This is where I'm comfortable being. There's no fucking rush. If you know intellectually that you would like to be non-monogamous in the future at some unspecified time, you can just sit with that. You don't have to then go, so we have to do this by Tuesday.
No, I agree. I guess part of it was wanting to push myself a little bit to just see where that boundary is, because I don't really know. And so we had gone into the sex club with the idea that we were just going to go to a sex club and have sex with each other. And it was really fun. Like, it was super hot, like for, the days leading up to it, very exciting, really fun when we got home for weeks afterwards. Like, it was really, I had an awesome time overall, and did love it. Except for that one moment where I was like, awkward.
You can keep going to sex clubs. And a lot of people there are many, many couples who go to swingers clubs, go to swinger organizations, go to organized sex parties just to have sex with each other in this erotically charged environment, right? That they're aroused by, being seen, by what they're seeing, but they don't touch anybody or want to touch anybody else. And in swingerland or organized sex party land, when it works and works well, people respect that. People respect people's limits. People don't just start touching. They ask, or you have to initiate yourselves. So you can benefit from all of that erotic energy and keep your relationship hot and sexy without yet having to, push yourself toward a boundary that makes your lunch push itself back up out of your mouth.
Yeah, I guess I feel badly. Like I would like to give him that.
Why? Does he want it? Is he pushing you toward this? I don't understand why you feel bad.
No, he's not pushing me towards it, but
give yourself a break.
I guess I'm like, but then what's the process? Like, what's the process? So I'm saying, okay, now I don't feel comfortable.
Well, the process is, I guess, a time may come when this feels right. And right now it doesn't feel right. So fucking stop it.
Right.
Go to the sex clubs if they work for you. And that whole thing that you described, where in the days or weeks running up to that event, you guys were fucking like crazy and really turned on. And in the wake of it, you were fucking like crazy and really turned on. That's what's awesome for people in partnered relationships and long-term relationships about getting out there, pushing your boundaries a little bit, and trying new and different things is it, makes you want to fuck each other. Not just have this opportunity to fuck other people, if indeed that's on the plate or on the table. So keep doing a little bit of that just to like keep the spark alive. But put a bookmark in it and say, at some point maybe this sex with others will feel less, whatever it feels, however wrong it feels, whatever label you want to put on it, will be less inflaming of my insecurities or whatever. We just haven't met the right people to mess around with together yet. Maybe those people are out there, but we haven't met them yet. And let's just not rush it, because it's the rushing it, I think, that's upsetting you. There's pushing your boundaries, and then there's pushing yourself past your current limits. And your current limits can change over time.
Okay. So just time.
Give it time. And here I am, Dan Savage, the king of allegedly bullying people into all being non-monogamous, telling you to just be fucking monogamous right now. And maybe monogamous forever. It might never work for you.
Well, I think that's what I'm afraid of.
Why should you be afraid of what works for you?
Well, I think because I heard on one episode you were like referencing one couple where like the woman sleeps with other people and the guy doesn't. And on one hand, I was like, there's like this part of me that feels like that probably would be what works for me, but like, how shitty is that for my partner if he wants to sleep with other people and I can't handle it, and I do want to sleep with other people
and you can
and he's fine with it?
Okay, so there's two things I would say in response to that. There are guys out there who that's what they want. They want their female partners to sleep with other men, and they don't particularly desire to sleep with other women themselves. They're cuckolds, or they're into hot wifing, or there are some people out there in that kind of non-reciprocal open relationship where they're just willing to accommodate their partner's insecurities because they benefit. You know, he might want to sleep with other women, but you can't handle it, and he can handle it if you can sleep with other men, and you can too, and that's hypocritical, but whatever. And then he gets all this sex in the wake of you fucking other guys, and it keeps your spark alive. So there's something in it for him, even if he doesn't get the same license or buy off you do, but it has to be by mutual consent. It can't just be imposed on him. He has to choose that. And so what you described works for some people and doesn't work for other people. I don't know what kind of person your boyfriend is or whether that would work for him or not. That's a conversation to have with him.
Right.
And then, you know, over time, you may find if you fuck some other guys with him, maybe have some three-ways, the whole idea of, you know, knowing that you can sleep with somebody else without feeling any less attracted to your partner, any less attached to your partner, in love with your partner, eventually you should be able to project that onto your partner. He can touch another woman without his feelings for me being diminished, just as I have touched other men without my feelings for him being diminished. But maybe that's going to take some time of you fucking other men to get that through your head, if indeed it ever gets through your head.
Yeah, which is a very good point. It's not my head that it needs to get through, because it's through my head. It's just my, I don't know, heart, loins.
Your reptile brain. It's through your. It's through
exactly. It's through my fear, wherever fear lives.
Frontal lobe. It's through your brainstem hasn't quite caught up. But don't rush your brainstem because it'll fuck things up. So, Dan Savage, the king of the non-monogamous fuck brigades, is urging you just to fuck your boyfriend only. Fuck him in different crazy places, erotic environments that charge you both up. Don't fuck other people for now. And talk to him about what he's comfortable with. If maybe he has a cuckold thing and you haven't really talked about it yet, or maybe he has a hot wife or hot girlfriend thing and you guys haven't talked about it yet. Throw that thing that you think sounds so unfair on the table, because there's a lot of guys out there who that thing that sounds unfair to you and perhaps to people outside your relationship is exactly what the guy in the relationship wants. Well,
he has said, like, I'd like to just, if we go back to the sex club or somewhere else, like, I just want you to have whatever pleasure you want to have, and whatever that looks like, women or men or whatever, we can talk about it. But I just want to see you get pleasured. To me, I was like, I don't even get that, but that's cool, I guess.
But can you take yes for an answer? Are you capable of doing that?
I can. Yeah.
Are you capable of taking him at his word when he consents to what seems to you unfair, but perhaps he's so aroused by watching that there's something in it for him and he doesn't experience it as unfair?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, then explicitly make a pact. We're going to go to a sex club. I'm going to do what I want and you're going to do nothing. Except with me.
Okay.
And then see how that goes. And if he leaves feeling as upset as you left feeling last time, then obviously that's not a model that works for you guys. Right. And maybe you should just fuck each other.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was very helpful.
Good luck.
Hey, Dan. I'm a 39-year-old gay man with a question for you. I came out to my parents about 3 years ago. They're very Christian. They still see being gay as a lifestyle and my choice. So I love my parents dearly. They love me, but that's how they see it. My mom had a great idea of taking a family cruise, all expenses paid for all of us, the whole family, my brother, nieces, his wife, my other brother. And it'd be great. The only problem is that it's a focus on the family retreat. And the last thing I want to do is hang around a bunch of bigots who see me as less than and who caused me to be suicidal in my teenage and early 20s and hate myself for so long. it's hurtful that my mom would suggest this as a family vacation. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know if I should just tell her I don't feel like going, or if I should. I don't know what to do, Dan. So if you have any suggestions, that'd be great.
Not all gay people are the same. Gay people are very different. We're very diverse. Even gay men, we can be very different from one another, because I would be so on that boat if I were you. I would be pitching this to every magazine editor in the country right now if I were you. I would be asking 60 Minutes if they wanted to come along, me and Anderson, film the whole fucking thing. What a shit show. And then pick it apart with mom, get mom on camera and be like, Mom, if I'd converted to Islam, would you be inviting me to a Trump rally? What the fuck with this boat full of bigots? But I wasn't closeted until I was 36 years old. I didn't suffer, perhaps, the same way you suffered at the hands of these particular kind of evangelical religious bigots. Sounds like it's potentially traumatizing for you to think about being on this boat full of assholes. And traumatizing for you to contemplate your mother's inconsideration. So don't fucking go. Tell mom, I'm not coming on a Focus on the Family cruise. Here's the Southern Poverty Law Center research on Focus on the Family. It is an anti-gay hate group. I'm not going to give them my money. I'm not going to sit by and let you give them more of your money to make room for me on this boat full of assholes. And if you want to go on a cruise with the whole family, maybe a secular cruise. You guys can pray your hearts out before dinner, but I don't have to be, and I will not be subjected to religious hoo-ha-ery. And I will not be the openly gay dude on a boat full of bigots wondering who's going to shove me over the side or corner me and proselytize to me, which is much more likely. Not down for that, Mom. Doesn't sound like a vacation to me. Sounds like a vacation to Dan Savage. You might want to invite Dan Savage. Maybe Dan Savage could go in my place. Maybe that would be the best revenge on your parents. You get that ticket and then you put it in my name and I show up. I'd be down. I'd be there in a heartbeat. I'm not saying I'm made of stronger stuff than you. I would just take pleasure in inflicting myself on everyone on this boat in some perverse way. You don't have that gene. You would not take pleasure in having everyone else on that boat inflicted on you. Because we're different. Because gay men are different from one another. We are diverse. Just us gay guys. We can be very different. Come down to very different sides of a Focus on the Family cruise. So, yeah, tell mom you're not going and tell her why. And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number here at the Savage Lovecast. If you want to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz. 206-302-2064. Follow me on Twitter at FakeDanSavage. Follow the fucking hilarious and smart and hilarious Emily Galati on Twitter at Emily Galati. That's Galati with one L. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth and Nancy. We will all be back at you next week, another installment of the Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.